Okay. Uh, so, how's the implementation going for you guys? Anybody who'd like to come up and share? Did you try to implement what we learned?
Yes, I tried to implement, I tried to find out the average, below average, above average percentages of
Mhm.
particular industry. Basically, I was doing for Bata India Limited, so the footwear industry I tried,
Okay.
and I tried to compare the industry ratio with the particular Bata India Limited.
Mhm.
So आई सारे तो मुझे समझ नहीं आए बट कुछ कुछ मुझे समझ में आया कि ये रीजंस क्या हो सकता है कि व्हाई दिस रेशियो इज एवरेज रेशियो, व्हाई दिस रेशियो इज अबव एवरेज और बिलो एवरेज. सो आई ट्राइड. और उसका पियर कंपनी है रिलैक्सो फुटवेयर्स, उसका भी मैंने ट्राई किया ताकि कंपेयर कर सकूं कि सारी फुटवेयर वाले जो कंपनीज है उसमें किस तरह से कंपैरिजन किया जा सकता है. लाइक
Okay.
वर्क इज गोइंग ऑन. इट इज लाइक
Okay. Fair enough.
दैट.
So, thank you for sharing that, Hiral.
Yeah.
So when you say above average, below average, you know, you will need enough number of companies to be able to say above average or below average. Just with two, yes, you can say something, and which direction the ratio has to take depends on your understanding of the ratio. For example, when you're looking at returns, they have to be higher or lower. When you're looking at return on investment
They
or
have to
return
be
on
high.
invested capital, they have to be higher, right?
Yes.
So you know the direction. The
Yes.
higher, the better, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
there'll be an average of the number of participants. There'll be a maximum. There'll be a minimum.
Yes.
And when we talk about, for example, debt by net profit,
Hmm.
that's a ratio, correct? Or debt by free cash flow,
Hmm.
that's another ratio. So when you look at that, would you want the debt to be higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower, right? So
Yes.
you know the direction of the ratio. Now you
Yes.
need enough number of instances to determine what is average and what is above average and below average.
Yes.
So is that clear for you, or you have any concerns there?
No, that is clear for me. But I had मुझे दो चीजें कंफ्यूज कर रही थी. लाइक
Mhm.
रीजंस जब हम फाइंड आउट करते कि व्हाई दिस रेशियो इज एवरेज रेशियो और व्हाई दिस रेशियो इज बिलो एवरेज, और तो उसका यही रीजन होगा मे बी कि मुझे ज्यादा कंपनीज देखूंगी तभी ज्यादा समझ में आएगा, ज्यादा क्लियर होगा. लाइक एक तो ये होता है कि वो एक पर्टिकुलर कंपनी के लिए क्यू एवरेज है, क्यू बिलो एवरेज है, क्यू अबव एवरेज है. तो दैट आई हैव टू सी विथ इंडस्ट्री, राइट?
Yes, you have to see
हाँ.
with the industry. For that,
हाँ.
you need to know the industry's average.
यस. हाँ.
Right? You can compare something only once you have a reference point.
या लाइक
Or
बेंचमार्क वी हैव, राइट.
yeah, so what I asked you guys to do is come up with your own benchmarks by
राइट.
doing things. So
यस.
right now you're not in a position. Right now you should not be worried about considering whether a company's ratio is average, above average, or below average. First of all, you should know what is the average,
राइट.
right? Without knowing the reference point, how are you going to say कि हाँ भाई ये अच्छा है या बुरा है?
राइट.
You got to know the reference point. Right now, the exercise is about determining the reference point.
राइट.
Okay.
ओके. ओके.
And once you have determined that, once you have looked at enough number of companies across industries, you will have some idea as to okay, इस industry में ये हो सकता है, इसमें ये नहीं हो सकता है.
करेक्ट.
Of course, I can tell you all that, and you will not have to work for it. But that way, you will not learn anything,
यस.
right?
ट्रू.
And I will, at a point in time, come and tell you that, this is what I think, this is where the difference in thinking is, and this is where my observation is, and we can discuss on that. But
यस.
right now, what you need to do is do the uh, hal chalane wala kaam.
यस. यस.
So, so uh, boring as it may appear, but it is very useful. If you do it yourself, you come up with your own averages. You'll develop your own understanding, and you'll connect the dots differently. Okay. What else, Hiral?
बस ये वीक में तो इतना ही हो पाया.
कोई नहीं. But are you enjoying the process or
Yes,
are you finding it burdensome?
no, it is not burdensome. I am enjoying it.
Okay.
मतलब मैं थोड़ा टाइम निकाल पाऊँ तो मैं और अच्छे से उसमें घुस सकती हूँ, बट थोड़ा सा कभी कभी मैनेज नहीं हो पाता, बट अभी हो रहा है, हो जाएगा. लाइक अदरवाइज इट इज गुड, नॉट बर्डन.
Great. So time investment is something that is mandatory if you want
Yes.
to own a certain skill or develop a certain skill. This is not a skill which can be taught in a school or college. Okay, it's something that somebody has to have the curiosity for to learn. Only then this skill would develop, and you know the value of the skill. The skill is more like I mean, leverage is usually a term that is used for borrowing, but consider this. What is leverage? Leverage is you put 1x effort and you get 10x output, or 50x or 100x, right? This is a leverage skill. This is not uh, a linear skill. This is a exponential skill. Investing, investment management is an exponential skill. So it's something that somebody masters. Nobody masters. Okay, nobody has mastered investment. Not even Warren Buffett. But the whole thing is we can always talk in relative terms. So we are all a student of a subject that nobody is going to master. But all we can do is it's called specific knowledge skill according to Naval. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So Naval Ravikant calls it specific knowledge skill. Good that you brought him up. His book is Bhagavad Gita, and everybody should read it. The Almanac of
Yeah,
Naval
I
Ravikant.
agree.
It's
I
it's
agree.
it's an amazing book. Thank you, Shrikant, for bringing that up. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not a skill like okay, cooking. You learn cooking and you can feed yourself daily. No doubt, it is a very important skill, and everybody should know it. Okay, but and it's not even gardening. What it is it's a skill that is going to help you convert 1 rupee into 100 rupees. Yeah, it is going to take some 20-25 years. If you're good enough, 18-20 years, and 1 rupee will be 100 rupees. That's the kind of compounding that you can generate. I mean, when we talk in percentages, we do not realize what quantum of impact investing has on our lives. Just think about generating 24% CAGR, which is doubling in every 3 years. So, first 3 years, how much would be? Let's say your initial amount is two. We start with two because doubling we are talking about, right? So, let's say, or we start with one. Okay. So, the first doubling is you make one ka two in first 3 years. Then you go from 2 ka 4 in the next 6 years, and then 4 ka 16 in the next 3 years, which is 9 years. By the time you are done with 12th year, 16 square is where you're going to. Just look at how big the number is going to grow. So, so, so be cognizant of it. Be cognizant of the exponential nature of the skill, and hence it will need your curiosity and your relentless effort to develop this. This is and still some people will do it well, some people won't do it well. Don't worry about it. Just focus on your journey, and even if you beat the average by couple of percentage points, boss, you're damn good. Believe me, you're damn good. Okay. So uh, great. Thank you, Viral. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else who would like to come and share their perspective? Just give me a moment. I'll switch on the fan. It's very hot here. Yeah. Anybody else who would like to share their uh, implementation experience? Hi, Shravan. How are you?
That's right, I'm fine. How are you?
Great. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Anybody else who would like to come up and share their implementation experience, any challenges that you're facing? Okay. I want to hear it from everyone. Okay. So, so I'll ask each one of you. Then I'll go with my flow. Or you want me to do that, or you plan to come up voluntarily? Anybody who would
No,
like?
maybe from my side, I just start. To be frank, it's still in progress. So no, I've not completed yet, but I'll be working on it.
No problem. How many companies are you looking at right now?
At least five in the same
Great.
industry. I'm looking
Fair
at.
enough. That's good. That's a good start. Great, Shrikant. Any questions that you have or any concerns as of now?
And not so far. Not so far. Right.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Shrikant. Okay, who would like to go next?
Hi, Shrey.
Right.
Just this week I'm not week, but last Sunday only I worked on Blue Star. So
Okay.
basically, normally I was not in common sense. We can say that as we can see that summers are going, every
Mhm.
temperatures are increasing. So I was looking into the sector. So how much India is been equipped with air conditions,
Okay.
and out of that there are only I think two big brands. Voltas is there and Blue Star is there.
Right.
Right. So I was looking for Blue Star.
Mhm.
So looking at Blue Star, I find that basically their margins are very low as it's an highly capital intensive company. They
Okay.
are working at 5%, but from FY13 to FY23, they quite improved their margin from 1% to 5% till FY23. At the
Mhm.
same time, I like about their cash conversion cycle
Okay.
as compared to Voltas they have. So
Pranay,
basically, they
that's good. But what I'm trying to ask you is how many companies are you working on, and have you
mm,
looked at finding averages of different ratio so that you can go and decide whether another company from the same industry is average, minimum, maximum?
mm,
Uh, that's my question.
okay. For that, I've just covered Blue Star and Voltas only. For averages, I have not calculated those. So
I think you
I
should
will.
look at.
Yeah.
I think you should look at more number of companies.
Yeah.
Have dedicated time where you work on companies and don't take things for granted. You will need to put your own effort. Without that, it won't work. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would want you to pull up your socks and just improve on the number of companies that you're working on. You have the caliber, you can do it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Any questions that you have for what we have discussed till now?
No.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, who would like to go next? Himadri, would you like to go next? Himadri, am I audible, guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. No problem. Okay. Shravan, would you like to share anything that you have found? Okay.
Uh, uh, no, Shrey, as in, so I'll in the next by the next call, I'm planning to come up with the jewelry sector covering
Fair
Senko,
enough.
Kalyan, Titan, and all the likes of all the listed Rajesh exports. So I'm
Perfect.
looking at that sector. So
Okay.
I'll basically what I'll do is I just will extract data in that format, the format, the same format in which you did Hudson Agro,
Okay.
everything in one place for all each one of these companies, so that we have a good number of companies, like 6, 7, to look at the averages, and then
Perfect.
whatever my observations, I'll just be prepared with it, whatever questions I have,
Got it. So,
and then
so
maybe we
we'll
can
look
take
at
it.
averages then, okay? And then we'll
Yeah.
look at what's
Okay.
above average, what's below average. Okay,
Cool.
sure.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. We will get on with the presentation. We'll take Himadri's inputs later. So just give me a minute. Any doubts anybody has till now? Anything that we've discussed till now?
Can I ask one quick question?
Yes, please.
It's very quick. Yeah. So we discussed about maintenance capex, right?
Right.
Maintenance part. So
Right.
can we only take the depreciation and amortization for if you want to understand the maintenance capex, or something else we need to add?
For maintenance capex, depreciation and amortization is enough.
Enough, right?
I mean,
Okay, fine.
yeah. See, maintenance capex is to do with capex, but we'll see how many
Correct.
components we have. We touched upon it in the last uh, session that we had, but this time we'll elaborate on it, okay? And we will learn how to
Mhm.
calculate maintenance capex. And
Okay.
while you all learn how to calculate maintenance capex, you will. This is not something that you go out and just teach anyone without thinking. That even if you
Mhm.
teach, the person is not going to get it. So, what I would suggest is this: keep this as your uh, secret weapon. This is something
Mhm.
you can always talk about it, but don't ever go out and tell anybody else who's quick minded in terms of making money as to how do you go about calculating maintenance capex. It's not a big thing, it's not a secret or something, but let people work hard to earn it. It's not a knowledge that everybody gets
Mhm.
in a simplified way, so value that, okay?
Yeah.
uh,
Mhm.
okay, okay. Thank you, Shrikar. So especially don't go out and put it on social media. No matter how much I've spoken about maintenance capex, I've rarely gone on and actually shown a calculation of maintenance capex to anyone, other than people who I know are someone who are passionate about it and have worked hard for it.
Mhm.
Value that knowledge, okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Shrikant, this is not just for you. I'm telling this to the entire group. So please don't take it just for yourself. Okay. So we'll talk about owner's earning and understand risk and return.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Shrey. Sorry, I had
Yeah, Hemant.
to pick call.
No problem.
Yeah, I think we can continue. I have few things, but
No,
yeah,
no,
we
no, no,
can.
no. Let's hear you out. And we were just starting, so we'll look at this after you complete. It'll be short, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Please go on.
Okay. So, I mean, I didn't get too much time to spend on the analysis, but whatever we discussed, I went through things trying to put through for the company, but I still didn't get to do for a lot of analysis from other companies,
Okay.
which I feel also a bit hard for me to now see what is going on, maybe from India in the market, which companies do and stuff like. I've been out for like now almost 12 years, so
Okay.
I don't get a lot of context. Sometimes, of course, I hear the companies and a lot of startups and stuff I know, but from other things, I'm not much, which I'm trying to maybe spend some time to understand. But from the analysis point of view, uh, I wanted to spend some time to kind of little automate on understanding how to put these ratios. I see what is this? This screener itself
Right.
has some customization, right?
Correct.
So when we use this customization to actually create these formulas and keep it auto analysis directly in the screener website itself.
You can and you should, but it will do only for the numbers that screener provides. So screener will
Hmm.
not give you gross margin and a few here and there
Yeah,
other numbers, but the
but
rest of it screener will give you perfectly. Please
no,
do
but
not over
can
a
we
period.
create something on top of it, like by mixing multiple things and doing calculations, like how we are doing in Excel sheet?
So most of the calculation, if you see, we have done using screeners data, okay? And
Hmm.
for the ones that we have done by tweaking screener data. We have not gone beyond screener, to be honest. But screener does not give COGS and gross margin directly. Okay, so you have to kind of go copy paste and do all that. So over a period in time, what will happen is screener will give you an automated sheet which calculates everything for you, except the ones that it has been doing, unless they work on any enhancements. Okay, so when that happens, keep it in your head. Be very clear in your head that you do not say that, okay, gross margin milta nahi hai, so gross margin is not a number that I want to look at. Don't shy away from copying that extra number and pasting it, so that just because it doesn't come in an automatic way. Okay, so don't deprioritize that ratio, any
Right,
ratio.
right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the whole purpose, right? Otherwise, like
Exactly.
screener, I mean, it's universal for everybody. Everybody can become an investor if screener can give this.
No,
So
even if screener gave you all the data, see, uh, you know, very early in my life, when I was an analyst working with Value Picker, I had this conversation with uh, Donald Francis, who is the promoter of Value Picker. He taught me about three advantages. The first is called information advantage. You have information quicker than anyone else, sort of insider information or some inference that you've got. Okay. The second kind of advantage is perception advantage. 10 people will look at the same data and will draw different conclusions. Do you agree on that?
yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not here to tell you or teach you information advantage. That's a part of it to do with material public information is illegal, and I'll never do that. What I'm here to teach you, and the rest of it, you get information because you have a network and all that, that too comes in a gray area. I'm not here to teach that or propagate that. What I'm here to help you do is form a perspective that makes you look at things differently, even when you stand with another person who is better than you in understanding accounting, has spent more number of years crunching numbers. uh, if you do this right, you will have a very different and unique perspective compared to any other person. Even if the guy or the person or the girl is uh, a CA or a CFA with 30-35 years of experience, you will have a different perspective by looking at the same numbers. Okay, so numbers or information alone will not help you form the complete picture. Knowing what to do with the information is more important, which is what we are focusing on.
Right, right.
Right now, we are in the science part of things, or relative science part of things of investing. That's why it appears that everything can be calculated. Trust me, not everything can be calculated. I have a picture showing that. We'll talk about this. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Fair enough. Anything else, Himadri, that you have to share?
Nothing much. I think from the analysis point of view, I did this before for one company, but I mean I didn't go into the details of all the calculations. But whatever we discussed in percentage calculations, I put it in the sheet. I don't know, like if you wanted to go over that.
No.
I
I
would
didn't
leave it.
want to go.
Yeah.
All I want you is to work on enough number of companies, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 100, how much ever you can. Okay. Either with your hands or by automating, and
Yeah.
find out averages and outliers.
Right.
So
Yeah, I will get this done. Maybe this week I'll put down a time schedule and and plan for it. And so that, I mean, as we discussed, I think it only makes sense when we do enough data analysis to get that perception more and more correct.
exactly. And honestly, I'm focusing more on data in the beginning is because it is something that's unemotional. Would you agree that numbers are less emotional or unemotional compared to letters?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, numbers tell more facts than
Right.
the stories and the words that people talk, or when you present or see, that becomes more emotional. Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you imagine yourself to be a girl who is looking for a guy to get married, and she is looking, uh, she's right now looking at uh, how much the guy is earning, and there's nothing wrong about it. So the girl asks the guy, how much do you earn? And the guy says, well, I earn good enough. And on the other hand, the guy says, I earn 50,000 a month. Which one is unemotional? 50,000 a month, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is why we are looking at numbers first, and then we'll get into the real hardcore uh, art part of investing, which is very different and very unique. Uh, at least it's my way of doing. I would not say that my way is the right way or the only way. No, it's not. There are 100 ways to get to this same god, but and here the god is return, or the god is a dream. Rather, return is a means, god is the dream that you have uh, to do with all the money that you generate with investing. But for that you will need to learn the art part of it, and we'll just move to that once we complete this session and you get enough time to work on things. Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, I think I completely agree, especially from an investment perspective. What you said, it should be on it should be numbers, and it should not be emotional. If you're making decisions of buying, let's say, your mobile phone, it's fine to go buy emotional. Maybe you might not lose much compared to
Correct.
your investments, like marriage or anything else can be done. But I think investment core should be numbers. But you also raise this one, it cannot be only numbers. I mean, obviously maybe 90% should be numbers, and then your perception about it, and maybe you're also taking some external factors that you have insights on. Right now, how can we put that also into the analysis? Like, for example, sometimes, like, when you see all numbers look good,
Mhm.
or maybe they are above average, they are good to what you call like fair price or whatever, and then
Right.
there has to be some additional factor that has to count you into to make that decision, right? So how
Absolutely.
can we put that also into this analysis?
Correct. And you spoke about the weightage that we give to numbers and non-numbers that varies from one person to another. Shrikant would agree to it. Shrikant would have a different weight than I have. I'm saying Shrikant because Shrikant has been in investing for good 10 years, and by now he will have that idea in his head. So we'll talk about that part also, and everybody should have their own weightage. Okay, we'll get into this presentation now. Himadri, just one suggestion for you. So if since you it's been a while that you've been in India, what you can do for yourself and is look for simple business models, uh, or recurring business models like FMCG, fast moving white goods, or uh, car um, I mean car makers, motorcycle makers, which are straightforward. Don't get into complex ones to begin with, and then you can go into the deeper uh, analysis of the market. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Okay, moving on. So today we are going to discuss owner's earning and understanding risk and return. What is owner's earning? Owner's earning are the excess cash a business generates after reinvesting enough to maintain its current position in the industry and competitive advantage, but before investing for growth. What do you understand by this? I have highlighted uh, two of the things in blue: maintain its current position in the industry and competitive advantage. Do we understand what do we mean by maintain its current position in the industry? Can someone explain it to me, please?
I think we discussed, right, the industry growth compared to inflation or anything else. The industry growth
Has to
is
be
what,
your barometer.
yeah, not the general growth. Yeah.
So if a company, thank you, Madri, for that. Uh, If a company is growing below industry growth, is would you call it maintaining its current position in the industry? Not Himadri, someone
No.
else.
No.
No. Do we all agree with Hiral? Srikant, Pranay, Shravan, do we agree with Hiral?
Yeah, agree.
Okay. What if it is growing faster than the industry growth? In that case, would we say it's maintaining its current position or what?
It's growing.
Competitive advantage.
It's growing. Okay, it's growing is okay. Can you make it
Above,
specific?
not just
It's
maintaining, but trying to above.
it's basically eating market share of other companies.
It's improving its current position in the industry, right? Correct? It's not
Yes.
maintaining, it is improving. If it is growing slower, it is deproving. If it is growing at industry growth rate, it is maintaining.
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 We are clear about it?
Yes.
Yes.
Competitive advantage word बड़ा interesting सा लग रहा है. What do we understand by that? We have a whole session on it, but but still I'm asking you early. So what is Virat Kohli's competitive
Yes.
advantage, guys? We all know Virat Kohli.
Yes.
What is his competitive advantage?
He can play slowly, and we,
That is
we
good.
can trust him. Starting he can play slowly, and we can trust him something.
He can change gears. Okay, that's what we will look at as analysts, cricket analysts. But if we dig deeper into the business of Virat Kohli or the person Virat Kohli, here I'm calling it the business because Virat Kohli is a person and we are talking about business. So if we dig deeper into Virat Kohli, what is actually his competitive advantage? Can anyone point out?
Fitness.
Fitness is his competitive advantage. Would you agree to it, all of you?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And mindset, right? That's what helps him switch gears, right? Okay. So if I were to ask you, what is uh, what is Shane Warne's? What was Shane Warne's competitive advantage? Do we all remember Shane Warne,
Spin.
or have you
Yes.
forgotten Shane Warne?
Leg spin. Leg
Yeah,
spin.
listen. He's
He can
arguably one of
he
the
can turn
greatest
the ball
turners.
at any pitch.
Yes, he can get you a square turning ball even on a glass top.
Yeah.
Does the same competitive advantage apply to Mathaya Muralidharan?
No.
Yes, he can. He could also turn the ball on a glass top.
Okay.
Both could do it, right?
Yeah.
So, so we understand what we are talking about competitive advantage. Okay, tell me what's your competitive advantage, each of you. I know it's not part of our curriculum, but I'm just asking. Is there, would you call something to be your competitive advantage? Food for thought, okay? Think about it, come back and tell us. Okay, Himadri has something. Yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, I would say some kind of uniqueness that that uh, that everyone has in business or in as an individual, that can actually translate into some value which you can realize. Or the first thing is you should recognize as an individual or a business, like what is that uniqueness that you have and how that can actually translate into some kind of a value right? You might have some uniqueness, but it does not really add value, then it's not advantage for you. You might be having it, but it doesn't matter. But if you can translate that into some kind of a value, whether it is monetary or whatever is your objective, if you can use that uniqueness and that you identify it, and it when we say, I think competitive, it's not common. It's very, it doesn't need to be the only one, but at least it is very rare, and you have you're converting that into some kind of a value. That's what I feel is competitive advantage. I don't know how we can identify in the companies these things,
So
but as individuals and at high level, I think this is more like a qualitative, the way it looks for me right now, but it should be converting into some numbers or some kind of way of measuring it. Otherwise it's like everybody says, I have this, I have this, which might not make sense.
that people say because they have to talk to an HR. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you talk to an HR, you can't say that, I'm just an average guy. The moment you say I'm just an average guy, he'll put your salary expectation below average. Trust me, I've been in HR and I'm telling you that is what we do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, in all recruitment and all businesses do the same, right? They say they are
And
very unique. They have this best thing that nobody else has it. I mean, goes into that unmeasurable area. Sometimes maybe they are, but how can we realize it? Like somebody is telling genuinely, somebody is telling just faking it. We should definitely have a way of measuring it, um, not by listening or kind of thing. If you can have some kind of a measurable factors that can show these things, I mean, I don't know whether if it can be considered. I was thinking initially, if you are growing at more than your average from the industry, if that percentage is higher, and if you can actually define why are you growing that at a higher, one of them can be your advantage. Those things, it could be uh, this, and if you can actually come up with a kind of a validation against that, then we can
okay,
list those advantages.
okay, fair enough. Okay, so to identify, thank you, Madhuri, for sharing that. So to identify your own competitive advantage, please do read my book. The second chapter of my book talks about identifying individuals' competitive advantage and choosing a career aligned to your competitive advantage. So what I've done is I've picked that idea up from Warren Buffett and applied it to careers. Okay. But coming back to companies, yes, it's a subjective thing. When I started my career, Himadri, I had very similar thoughts as you have right now, and I would look for ways of measuring everything. I would even go on to applying differential calculus to uh, things to be able to segregate and measure something. But I mean, we should try and measure things only that make sense. We'll touch upon this particular topic and we'll discuss extensively on this separately as well, on why you should not be too obsessed with quantifying everything. That can make you a man with a hammer who looks at everything like a nail. Okay, I've been a victim of that mindset, and I hope that none of you become, because yeah, that's the whole reason. I'm doing this course. You're paying me, and we are doing it so that I tell you what mistakes I've made, and you don't make them. And at the same time, you get a framework and all that. Okay, so
Yeah,
so
yeah. For me, it's like maybe the other way around. I don't look at the numbers. I try to look at more, which also sometimes is bad. And yeah, it has to be both fair share, I think.
So you have to have a balanced perspective. We'll go on and discuss on that. Okay.
Yeah.
Right now, let's move on and see. Okay. What does maintaining its current position in the industry look like? I wanted to make you visualize. I am a visualization sort of a person. I did my engineering in electronics and communication, and all 4 years I was asking where is the bloody wave. Uh, the wave never came actually. I mean, I never saw the wave, but yeah. I realized by the end of fourth year that I should have been in mechanical or probably civil or aeronautical or something. And then I could at least see the outcome of or the forces working at least. Okay, so this is what I mean by maintaining current position. Do we all relate to the pictures that I hear? Are the people running very fast? They are, right?
Yes.
But are they running fast enough to move anywhere in life? No, right? So that is called maintaining your current position. Whatever effort they are putting to run right now is their maintenance capex or maintenance expenditure of energy. We agree to this?
Yes.
Yes.
I want you all to get this uploaded in your brain, these two pictures. Never forget it in your life. This is what will help you visualize things. Okay. Snapshot ले लिया सबने?
Yep.
Cool.
Yes.
Chalo. Okay. What does a moat, what does a competitive advantage look like? It looks like a moat. A moat is the hole dug around a castle to protect the castle from its enemies. Okay. We Warren Buffett calls it moat. These fancy uh, college professors call it competitive advantage. So Buffett also said, we'll call it competitive advantage. So it's moat and competitive advantage are used synonymously. Do not get confused. Durable competitive advantage or sustainable competitive advantage or moat are the same thing. Okay. And what why do we want a competitive advantage is the very important question I want you to think and answer. So please tell me, what do you think? Why should we have a competitive advantage? Why should a company have a competitive advantage? Or forget a company right now. Why should you have a competitive advantage as a person?
I think competitive advantage will make you perform even in the worst situation, or it's like if things go wrong, you can still maintain and stay, like, I mean, because
So is the
if you are
first
in a
perspective correct or the second perspective correct?
Second one.
The second one is correct. Why? Because in the picture we see a moat protecting the castle. Your competitive advantage is not an offense tool per se. Yes, it can act as an offense tool. Okay. It is actually a defense tool. Never forget that in your life. We are not doing a return analysis. We are doing a risk analysis. In if I did not use risk and return in the perspective part, and I asked you at the end, which I have as a question, are we into a business? I'm jumping ahead and I'm asking you that question. Think about it till then, till the question comes. The question is, are we in the business of return management or risk management? You answer me when it comes. Right now, yeah, hang on. I know. I understand you're excited, but right now, looking at the picture that we have, the moat or the competitive advantage even that an individual has protects him or her and lets him or her survive. Okay, Shah Rukh Khan went through hell when his kid was accused in the drug case. Do we all remember that story?
Yes.
What was his competitive advantage, guys, during the whole period? Only the period in context. What do you think was his competitive advantage? Did he go out in the media and start shouting, or what did he do? Did he,
Connections.
did he use
Manage
his
with the
calm
politicians.
okay?
and composed.
What he did with his connections, we don't know. But Himadri rightly pointed out, he was calm during the whole period. He didn't utter a word. He was patient. Do we agree? Did you see Shah Rukh
Yes.
Khan reacting?
No.
That was his competitive advantage. Had he reacted, do you think it would have worked in the favor of the kid or backfired?
Backfire.
Backfired, right? So competitive advantage is to save you. First, you can use it as an offense tool, but it is actually a defense tool. What is Sachin Tendulkar's competitive advantage? Yes, sure.
Same.
Same fitness,
Oh, calmness.
calmness. Okay, good calmness. Apart from that, as a cricketer, what do you see? As a cricket analyst, what would you see? Calmness is the core competitive advantage. I agree on that. And his indomitable spirit. You remember early in his career, the first match he broke his nose and he went on to save a match for India. Do we remember Sachin?
Yeah.
I hope you do. He's my favorite cricketer. but jokes apart, his indomitable spirit is another one. On the cricket field, as an analyst, you would see he can play the same ball in 6, 7, 10 different ways. Do we agree to that?
Yeah.
Right. So on the surface, the competitive advantage might look something, but at the core, it would be something else. Do we get this concept? If you become a long term investor, what would be your core competitive advantage, which nobody has to apply any brains to? No brain application, simple. What would be your core competitive advantage if you are a long term investor?
Patience. Patience. You
Okay.
should wait.
How would it look like patience in real life? So that's the actual
Boring.
one. Okay, boring, yes. Feeling wise, boring. But to someone who's observing, how would patience look like? Why would I say that Srikanth or Pranay is patient? What will I look at? What will the cricket analyst look at?
Others, it might look like they're losing, or
Okay, one, it might look like they're losing. What else? Would it look like their holding period is very long?
Yes.
To an observer, patience would look like their holding period is very long, right? How would you say that this guy is patient? If I say I'm patient and I keep selling my stocks every 6 months, am I patient?
No.
No, I'm far from patient. I'm opposite of patient, right?
Mm.
If you are looking at my portfolio and I'm holding stocks, only then would you say that this guy says he's patient, he's actually patient, right? Okay. Let's see what are the competitive advantages of different companies. What is the competitive advantage of Maruti Suzuki?
Low service. It services center. It has
Ah,
plus. It has got good after what we said.
yes.
Uh, if you want to sell it, we can get a good value.
Okay. Do we all agree to it? Anybody who would like to add something else, or we agree to it? Maruti Suzuki has the widest service network in this country. That renders it reusable and increases its resale value. That's what Pranay says is the competitive advantage. Does anyone want to add anything, delete anything? Do you think Maruti is Maruti
Agree.
because it has a brand?
No, agree with Pranay.
Right. So, how much ever, yes, the brand is there because there is a logo, but never in your life confuse reality for marketing. Okay, marketing is to fool average people. When you're learning investing, you're no more average people. You could have an average IQ, but you will have an above average EQ if you are to be a successful investor. If you have an above average EQ, you will not fall prey to marketing. Will you?
Yeah, I mean, you should not even look at marketing.
Exactly. You should you should look at the real thing, not marketing. Okay, fair enough. So tell me, what's the competitive advantage for uh, case construction equipment? Go on, Pranay.
It's the only. I think it's got 60% market basically. That got those cranes, then material and handling equipments, which I don't think there are any other such companies operating in India. I think it's an
Okay. So as an analyst to look at from at the surface, you would say it has 60% market share.
yeah.
That is the surface level competitive advantage. But what is leading to that surface level competitive advantage?
Mm,
It's experience of being in that business for so long and maintaining that position,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, okay. Do you think any petroleum company has any competitive advantage?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
License.
license. Okay. So license, uh, you can say to an extent, license no doubt is a competitive advantage. That's 100% true. Uh, okay, we'll go into details of it when we discuss it. Okay. For now, let's talk about another example. Anybody who would like to ask a question about competitive advantage of a particular business? Anything, you don't need to know the answer. It's okay. Just shoot a question.
My question is, if a business does not have competitive advantage, right? So it's not good for investment. Can we conclude this? Like, because there is definitely a chance of a risk or something, and then if you're performing without any competitive advantage, can we conclude like this is not good for investment?
That's that's a good question and a very good question. Okay. Sean, you wanted to say something.
No, I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
So, what is the competitive advantage of, let's say, Starbucks?
Come on, guys. What is the competitive advantage of Starbucks?
I think
Scale.
brand brand value
Same
itself is
brand.
a advantage for them, because they become so big that people want to drink Starbucks maybe just because of the name, not because of anything else. And when they go and open, I think it comes automatically just because of the brand value.
Okay, fair enough. Do we agree to that? Do we agree to that? Or it's
Yes,
the
yes.
surface level competitive advantage? Is brand the actual competitive advantage or the surface level competitive advantage? Okay.
I think at surface level, maybe it's not. I mean, because they're not competing with the price, or they're not competing maybe with the other coffee shop next to it and stuff, because they're not competing by providing better price or better
Right.
quality, and I don't think it matters there. What matters
Fair
is
enough.
it Starbucks or something else?
Fair enough. Okay. Shravan, are you comfortable with what we discussed, or would you want to add something else?
Yeah. I mean, so the answer was that it's basically the name, right? People want to
Correct.
kind of associate themselves with that, similar to Apple or whatever, like status symbol. You know that I have Starbucks, I don't have coffee.
Correct.
Okay.
Coming back to Himadri's question, which is, if a business does not have a competitive advantage, should we not invest in it? I would want all of you to think about this and come back in the next session and we'll discuss this. Okay. This is a very good question and you should all think about it. Does not having competitive advantage make a business bad business? Or if it doesn't make a bad business, why does it not make a very strong case for investment? Okay. Competitive advantage is to protect your profits or to uh, grow your profits. First, the first function of competitive advantage is to protect your profitability or to grow your profitability. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Protect.
I think it's protect.
Always remember the
Protecting.
picture. The first is to protect it. Okay, that's why it's called a moat. And then it is used to enhance the profitability. There are competitive advantages that do not let you enhance profitability but just protect it. For example, we will talk about those examples. Right now, let's restrict ourselves here. Okay. And then we'll look at this in the coming session. Yes, Pranay.
We can also take example of BKT Balkrishna tires,
Uh-huh.
which is into off the highway tires.
Right.
I don't think there are many companies operating in this segment. We can say it has the competitive advantage of this segment.
It's into the business of retreading of tires
Off the highway
or,
tires, no? So
or of off-road tires. You're
off-road
talking.
tires, so big tractors and all those big machines.
Right. So if over a period in time it builds or it has built enough experience base which allows it to be the number one player and charge a premium, yes, what you are saying is right. Okay, fair enough. Moving on. We discussed about a formula for owner's earning. I spoke about revenue minus maintenance operational expenditure. Okay, I didn't use this formula. I'm showing it to you right now. It wasn't shown last time. We spoke about a different formula. Forget it right now. Just look at this. I have updated the sheet to reflect the current formulas. You will, not that those formulas were wrong, but these are easier to understand. Okay. Owner's earning is revenue minus maintenance operational cost or expenditure minus maintenance working capital increase minus maintenance capex. Does it make sense? It's the direct formula. Like we have direct cash flow. Remember direct cash flow? Srikanth, Hemadri, we spoke about direct cash flow. Shravan, Pranay, you should know what direct cash flow is. Hiral, you should also know. We all know what direct cash flow is. We don't see it in use, but do we know it? Direct cash flow statement, we don't make it, but do you understand what it is?
Is it like the revenue minus the cost of goods,
Revenue
or
minus cost minus increase or decrease in working capital is direct cash flow from operation minus tax paid. Okay. If it was so straightforward. I mean, sorry, it should not be adjustment for working capital. Adjustment for working capital makes it indirect. If it is direct, it means removal of all the cost from revenue should give you the cash flow. Okay. So if we were to calculate, yes, Hirar.
No, I agree with you.
Okay. Okay. So if we were to calculate owner's earning is the earning that would be left in the hands of the owner. The amount of earning that would be left in the hands of the owner if the company grew so that it maintained its position in the industry and its competitive advantage. Whatever money that should have come in his hands if the company grew at industry growth rate and maintained its competitive advantage is owner's earning. Do we understand this definition, guys? Do we understand this definition, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
In a hypothetical scenario, if the company grew at the rate of the industry, the amount of earning that would be left in the hands of the owner after deducting operational expenditure for the growth corresponding to the industry growth, the maintenance working capital and the maintenance capex would be direct method of calculating owner's earning. Okay.
Yes.
But we do not have a revenue minus maintenance operational expenditure and all. Okay. So we'll talk about,
So the tax. Okay.
sorry.
Okay. Yeah. You're. Yeah. I was asking about the tax. I think you're covering me.
Yeah.
Like, is the
So
tax?
yeah, the
This is
tax is also removed. I've not mentioned it. It is also removed. Don't worry.
okay.
We won't be using the direct method, so don't worry about it. Okay. In the indirect method, what we do when we calculate cash flow from operation, first we take profit before tax, right? And we add back depreciation. Remember, guys? And then at the end we subtract tax paid. Here what I'm doing is I'm not subtracting, I'm not taking profit before tax. I'm not going to subtract tax separately. I'm doing it after tax only. So I'll take profit after tax. I'll add back depreciation. I'll adjust for growth operational expenditure. So if the company, I'll adjust for growth working capital and adjust for growth capex. What I mean by that, here I'm assuming that the company is growing faster than the industry. Okay. If the company is growing faster than the industry, profit after tax plus depreciation, the operational expenditure, it is likely that it would be expending more than it would because it is growing faster. Okay. For example, let's say Hudson is growing faster than the industry. If Hudson was growing faster than the industry, Hudson's Hudson would be incurring store opening cost, which it has been opening for the last 10 years. Okay. And so acquiring a store, leasing it, its lease cost, its electricity bill, its interiors, its fixtures, all that will be a cost. Fixtures probably will not be a cost, it will be an asset. But the rest, interior and all, you can't put it as asset, right? Because you're getting it painted, doing whatever interior. So, but that additional cost of opening an extra store is for future growth, right? It's not going to yield all the revenue in this year itself, correct?
Yes.
Hence, whatever extra cost you are incurring for growth, you'll add that back. Okay. Then let's look at a business that is into retail. For example, Himadri, we start we open a new branch of a retail company. Okay, we open a new store. In that new store we'll have to put up inventory, right? That would be
Yes.
investment in working capital.
Yes.
Would that be for growth or would that be to grow at the rate of industry?
Yeah,
for
would be
growth.
only to grow the industry.
No, it would be to grow faster than the industry. You're opening another store. Let's assume it is your business is growing faster than the industry and you are investing in new stores. In that
Okay.
case, whatever extra investment that you have made in working capital, you would add it back to the number. Then to open that store, you would you would have to put up fulfillment centers. You would have to put up wholesale sort of centers. All that will cost you one time capex. That capex would not have come if you did not pursue that growth. So you will need to add that back.
I have a question here. Let's say if you are opening, let's say, a new outlet or uh, new way in any business, in retail, it's a new branch, and you are trying to increase the sales. Okay. Now, obviously, the total volume of sales might increase because you have new branch, and once that investment goes and once that becomes operational, it becomes your sales is grown and your profits are grown. But as opposed to the investments, we cannot guarantee that it is growing. Like, for example, if you have let's say 100 rupees and you are making, say, 10 rupees profit. Okay. Now you want to open another branch. I'm just giving an example. Let's say that branch also requires another 100, and that also gives 10. Then you are making essentially 200 sales with only 20 profit, which means my profit margins has not increased, but overall numbers are increased.
Right. Your
But
profit
assuming
margin.
that my next branch is only I'm opening at 50 or 30, not at 100,
Okay,
my investment
let's say another thing. Let's say another thing. So let's assume that the sale of your first branch is 1,000. The sale of your second branch also is 1,000. You earn 100 from the first branch. You earn 100 from the next branch.
okay.
By investing in a new store, maybe you will not generate sale of 1,000 rupees in the first year only. Say you generate 50% of it. You grow by 50%. Is
Mm.
50% faster than any industry growth rate? Or
No,
is
I mean,
industry is 50% growth of revenue faster than the growth rate of retail industry?
yeah, it is. But my concern is the profit margins are not growing, right?
Hang on, don't worry about profit margins. Wait, what I'm
Mm.
asking you is the company gaining market share?
Yeah, yes,
Has the company enhanced its current position?
yes.
Right? If the company has enhanced its current position and assuming that its competitive advantage remains where it is or improves, in that case, you should add back whatever investment led to the increase in uh, the competitive position. I mean, you should add back whatever led to improvement in the uh, current position. It should be where it is, right? So we'll add back anything that has led to improvement of its industry position.
Right. My because I was thinking, having experienced doing this, I was thinking, if I'm actually doing 1,000 sale in one retail outlet, and if there is a profit of 100, okay, and usually if my retail outlets are or the industry retail outlets are making only, let's say, 80 or 50 or 70, but I'm making 100, which is higher than the industry growth, then it will become advantage for me to go and open another one because I'm doing better than anyone. But if I'm making only 100 and my industry is growing at, say, 150 or 200, they're making up for out of 1,000. Now will it be considered as growing if I go and open another retail outlet and try to do this? Is it still considered like a growing or something? Because sales might still grow and things
See,
might better, but it also require investment, right?
that's exactly what I'm telling you. You are focusing on the wrong variable. You got to focus on the right variable. The When we are looking at market share, do we look at profits or we look at uh, sales?
Yeah, market. But why is the market share a concern?
Madhuri, let's not ask question for a question. Let's answer questions and then come to your question.
Hmm.
Okay. So tell me, uh, is market share measured by revenue or by profits?
Yeah, it's by
Revenue.
revenue.
Revenue, correct? So in a retail industry, if say you are in a retail industry where everybody is earning 8% margin, you are earning 10% margin. That's irrational for a retail business. But still, let's take that example. And you're saying you will open another store where the sale would increase by 1,000 and you would have 10%, okay, which is 100 rupees. So
Hmm.
initially you had 1,000 sale, 100 rupees profit. You opened another store, you have 1,000 sale, 100 rupee profit. Now you are saying this is not a good scenario, right?
Yeah, only in case if it is lower than the average market. If it is higher, then it is good. If it is
No,
lower,
no, it's not like that. You're,
hmm,
this is exactly why I tell you you should not look at you should not focus on only one variable. You're focusing
hmm,
on only one variable of profit margin. Boss, if you go by
right,
profit margin, you will see businesses that generate 50% profit margin but do not even have 25% of the turnover. I mean,
right.
0.25 turnover. Look at a hotel business, luxury hotel business. Look at ITC's luxury hotel business. When you look at ITC's luxury hotel business, you will see amazing margins. You agree to that?
Hmm, hmm.
You will see amazing margin. But do you think, just think about the year in which the property is built and the land is acquired. Do you think they'll even have 0.5% of the cost that has gone into building that property as sale in the first year? Forget first year, even in the fifth year, would they have it?
Yeah, they might not have on the first year, but eventually it is added as maybe
That
their OpEx.
eventually will come 15 years later in a
Hmm,
hotel business,
hmm.
right? So
Yeah,
then does it make sense? You are having great margins. You could have better margins than a budget hotel, but does uh, does your thinking make sense here in this case? Whenever
yeah,
you look at a business, don't just look at its margin. Look at margin and turnover combined together. Only then you will be able to gauge a business. And right now, we are not here to measure return on investment. What we are trying to learn is how do you go about calculating owner's earning, where we are talking about, okay, let's say this is a company which is growing faster than the industry. Okay, let's say we take retail business only. What is the growth at which retail is growing in in India or in the place where you are, Hemadri? Let's say in your place, what's the rate at which retail industry is growing?
uh, I don't think it's growing at all. We don't have the numbers, but
Correct.
maybe consider like maybe 10% or
Okay,
such.
let's say 10%. Okay, let's say 10%. Tell me, uh, do you see a player coming into your retail industry which is growing faster than 10%? Seriously, faster than 10%?
No, I don't think they're growing, but I think maybe they are. I don't know. When we say growth, I'm more thinking more in terms of this, but I need to get out. So maybe they are expanding, but I don't know whether when you say growing, as a company and a business, right? It's not just
Yeah.
on the profits also.
So we are talking about sales growth.
Sales,
Uh,
yeah.
do you have any player growing faster than 10% growth rate in sales?
Yeah, in sales, yeah, because I was looking at overall, yeah, sales, I think they're growing. They're much faster growing.
How much? Put a number.
Uh, I don't know, maybe 20%, because I see.
Let's uh, let's go step by step. Let's not jump the gun. Okay. So let's say they are growing at 20%. Okay.
Hmm.
Are they running their current business profitably?
Hmm, I I guess so. I'm not
Let's say,
really sure.
let's say, for example, they are able to run their current business profitably at 2% margin and uh, probably 5 times turnover, or 3% margin and 5 times turnover.
Hmm.
Possible?
Yeah, yeah,
So 15% return on investment. Okay. That's a
right.
profitable proposition. Okay. Now, when they are growing faster than the industry, it means, are they growing by selling more from the same store, or are they growing by adding new stores?
Yeah. I think they're also adding. They're adding new stores.
Right. The added new stores that they are adding, the new stores that they have added, the cost of it, are they capitalizing it or incurring it in their expenses? Are there some costs that are being incurred in the current expense, in the current income statement? They can't capitalize salaries of new people, right?
Yeah,
That is being expensed, correct?
yeah. Right,
Additional
right.
cost, right? So uh, compared to 10% growth, if I were to take all the cost for the new store employees also as a cost, do you think that would be fair in terms of doing an analysis? Or I should segregate cost into two components. One is maintenance cost and the other is growth cost.
Okay. Yeah, I think I formed the idea now. I think as long as if the business is trying to do it by itself in growing, uh, if that business has capability of managing the fund and doing everything, I think it is always growing. If you are able to go and invest into other branches or outlets, it definitely
Right.
adds to the growth. Because
Let's
because I
help
was thinking like
everybody. Let's
putting
help everybody
1,000 is coming
understand
from.
that.
Yeah, let me. I'm just trying to get that thought clarity in my
Sorry.
thinking. So if I have 1,000, and if the business is making 10%, say 100, now to open another outlet, if the business has the potential and ability to go and open another business outlet which can also generate similar amount of profits and similar things, from a business unit point of view, it is growth, because you're able to earn 100, now you're able to earn 200, right?
Right.
That is, I mean, because I was thinking in a mindset of where we are investing, but it's like you should not think from investing from outside, because it's part of the business. If business has this capability to invest and actually grow by itself and can manage all of this and leverage it, I think it is considered to be growing. And
That brings us to our first tenant or first principle of looking at things. Think like a business owner, not like an investor.
yeah, yeah,
If you think like a business owner, you would not get this down.
right, yeah.
So the first thing that we spoke about is it is incurring more cost than it would if it was growing at 10%? Is it also incurring more inventory storing cost and inventory putting up cost than it would have done had it grown at 10%?
I think, yeah, I mean, it can leverage most of those, most of things can be leveraged.
Fair enough. You can always take it on credit, but there'll be some inventory that you have to buy upfront. If
Yeah,
you are
yeah.
if you're importing from some other country, you will need to, which is the case with especially uh, any company based in Europe, America, or Middle East. They import quite a lot because there is an Indian
Yeah.
diaspora as well. Okay, so there is some upfront additional cost in terms of working capital that goes in. Now to build that whole store, would they have incurred extra capex also? So
Yes,
do you
yes.
see that working capital can be divided into two parts: maintenance working capital and growth working capital? I'm asking everyone, okay? Is anyone not following? Is every one of you following, guys? Hiral,
Yes, yes.
following? Pranay,
Yes,
Srikant?
yes.
Okay, okay. So similarly, they would have uh, maintenance working capital and growth working capital. They would also have maintenance capex and growth capex, because a certain percentage of funds would be going towards building the new uh, store, right? And hence the calculation is like this. Since the company is growing faster, what you will do is you will add back the extra cost that they have incurred for growth, extra working capital investment they have incurred for growth, extra capex that they have incurred for growth. And when you adjust all of them to the above number, which is profit after tax plus depreciation, you will get the earning that the owner would have had, the earning that the owner would have had in his hands had the company grown only at industry growth rate. Do we completely visualize this? Guys, yes,
Yes,
no?
yes,
Maybe सबको समझ में आया मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ?
Yes.
yes, yes.
श्रीकांत, श्रवण,
Yeah.
see, this is a tricky one. Okay, so you really need to get it hardwired in your head. Once this thinking is embedded in your head, it will not be difficult for you to ever do this. So if you have any questions, this is the time to ask. बाद में जाके मत पूछना what is average, what is high low, and what is the formula, why growth, why not maintenance. Please think through thoroughly.
Yeah, I think what I am inferring is now, I mean, I see the growth. So the owner's earning is after, apart from the maintenance operational expenditure or the working capital and stuff, you also need to account for the growth in growth of the working capital or a capex. Like if there are new projects or new things that are coming in, you keep that aside and then you take your owner's earning, so that
Exactly.
instead of taking money into your account, you are actually letting it to grow in your business
That is
as
one
a.
way of thinking about it. Owner's
Mhm.
earning we are going to use to measure the earning power of a company. So when you are, the earning power has to reflect the true nature of the business. You should not be penalizing owner's earning for the growth investment that the company is making.
Mhm.
Here, by adding back the numbers that are being invested for growth, you are not penalizing the company for investing in growth. Are we clear?
Yeah.
Everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Pakka? Okay. I hope all of you be pakka. Okay. So what are the three categories of outflow from revenue to arrive at owner's earning in the direct method? Now, I'm not talking about the calculation. I'm talking about three components. So don't worry about revenue being there. What are the three components? You do it with revenue or profit after tax, it's the same. So what are the three components, guys? Maintenance cost, maintenance working capital investment, maintenance capital expenditure. I would ask you to take 2 minutes and think, is it possible to club any of them and do things differently? I'll just be back in 2 minutes. Just think about it, okay? Is it possible to club any of them in any permutation combination so that our calculation becomes easy? I'll just be
1
back.
and 2 can be clubbed.
Just hang on. I'll come back. You think about it, give it a thought. That's not the answer. Please think. Hi, guys. Anybody who would like to go ahead and tell me which two can be clubbed? Hello, am I audible? Seems like everybody's on a break.
It is audible.
Okay, okay, great. Thank you. Yeah. Anybody who would like to tell me which two can be clubbed and what would I call it? Come on, guys, straightforward. And what is net working capital plus fixed asset called?
Invested capital.
Kabash. What is maintenance working capital investment plus maintenance capital expenditure called? Okay. Net fixed asset का corresponding line क्या है हिरल in the cash flow statement, which is directly related to net fixed asset? Match the following, remember?
Yes.
Capex.
Capex, right?
Capex,
So maintenance capex plus maintenance working capital investment, can I call it maintenance invested capital?
invested capital.
Shabash. Great. Do we all get this? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes.
I'm calling
Yes.
maintenance capital expenditure and maintenance working capital investment as maintenance invested capital. Shrikant, Himadri, do we get this?
Yeah. Okay.
Himadri, do we get this? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, moving on. So I've changed the formula and reduced the last term into adjustment of growth invested capital. The above formula for the indirect method is the same: profit after tax plus depreciation plus adjustment for growth operational expenditure plus adjustment for growth invested capital. Okay. Now growth. Okay, let's look at the next slide. How did we do this? We came to total invested capital can be bifurcated into maintenance invested capital plus growth invested capital. Right?
Yes.
How do we calculate maintenance invested capital? Now comes the interesting question. Tell me, guys, anybody who would like to take a shot? With which ratio will I calculate it? Tell me. Yeah, Hiral, you were saying something. Hiral?
Ratio. I was going to tell maintenance working capital plus that maintenance capex.
Arey, come on, yeah. that was good. Okay. But how will I come to that? I mean, how do I arrive at maintenance invested capital? Anybody who can think about it, trust me, you would have connected all your dots properly. Anybody who can get close to it, except Shravan. Shravan knows it. I've taught him. श्रावण याद है ना तेरे को? I hope याद है.
हाँ.
हाँ बस
Yeah.
शांति से बैठ. Okay. Anybody who can think about it, don't worry about time, this, that. Just think about it. This is really important. In which ratios do we use invested capital and how can we calculate it? Anybody who can come up with it, trust me, you would have understood everything that we have discussed till now. The crux of it, at least. So take a moment and think about it. Don't worry, give your answer. If you have a thought, give your answer. See, when I was in my engineering, I had a senior who stayed next to my room. He said, Shrey, if you understand The Intelligent Investor, the book by Ben Graham, even 25% you're meant for investing. You know what I did? I went the next weekend to the bookstore. I read the book and I came back and I said, I understand 33 to 40% of it. They said, good, then you're meant for investing. So right now you are at this juncture where if you can compute that, if you can tell me how you compute it, you've got almost all the utility things that we discussed till now. You've understood the crux of it. So do attempt, think about it. I will give you the answer, but not so easily. I would want each of you to attempt, sorry. Okay. Before that, let's discuss in which ratios do we use invested capital. Forget maintenance word. Which ratios do we use invested capital, guys? How many ratios that have we discussed where we use invested capital?
Invested capital turnover.
Yes, Hiral, could you repeat, please?
Invested capital turnover.
Invested capital turnover and
Invested capital to equity.
Return on invested capital.
okay. Invested capital by equity also, Hiral, is right. Okay. इन तीनों में से कौन से रेशियो को यहां यूज करोगे तो आंसर आ सकता है? सोचो, दिमाग लगाओ. हाँ, Shrikant, Himadri, I want you both to think also. You have
Return on invested capital.
return on invested capital we should use. Okay. Rethink about it.
It's my guess, not my will. Okay.
Don't guess, think. See, this is very much possible if you think. We are talking
Invested
about,
capital.
sorry,
Invested capital.
which ratio are we going to use? Okay. Invested capital bonus थोड़ी होगा. Which ratio of the three? Okay. Tell me, when we talk about owner's earning, where maintenance invested capital is a part, what do we say? Can someone repeat the definition for me, guys? What are the two conditions?
One is maintaining its current position.
Right. And
And
second
then
is,
competitive advantage.
right.
Competitive
So
advantage.
competitive advantage we have not discussed much. Maintaining its current position means what in numbers, Himadri?
Industry growth rate.
Industry growth rate for profit, asset, or sale.
I think on the sale.
On sale, right? Right. Okay. So I've given you your hint. Now tell me which ratio.
Invested
Capital
capital
turnover.
turnover. Invested
Turnover.
capital turnover.
Sales.
Sales by invested capital. Okay. So now tell me how you will do it. Think about it. That's the ratio. How you will do it is now the thinking part. First part of the puzzle solved. Let's go to the next part of the mystery. Here you need imagination. So do a thought experiment.
So sales by invested capital is giving the factor. So it should be multiplied by the growth rate of in working capital growth rate that is required, or invest. What is it called? I think working capital growth rate.
No, maybe industry growth rate.
Industry growth rate for what?
Industry growth rate for the company. I mean to say like.
Arey Baba, for the company, which parameter? Sale, invested capital, which one?
Sales.
Sale, right? So
Engine sales.
so what we'll do, we'll grow the sales at what rate?
Industry.
If the industry is growing at 10%, the company is growing at 20%, we want to calculate maintenance capex. We are taking, the industry has grown at 10%. Let's talk about history alone, okay? If the industry over the past 10 years has grown by 10%, the company has grown by 20%, and we are talking about 2013 number for the next 10 years, we have sale by invested capital. At what rate do I grow what? Tell me, so that I can calculate maintenance. Srikant, you're on the right path. Go on. Himadri, you are also on the right path. All of you are on the right path. Go on.
See, my point is, you mentioned 2 points here. One is industry growth is less than my growth. Okay, example, 20% is mine, that means our company, example.
Correct.
And industry is 10%, right? In
Correct.
this case, I would go with my current rate because I have to maintain my status, my flow.
Oh, my friend, you don't have to become Arjun. We are talking about calculator maintenance capex. Don't worry. Uh,
Okay.
sorry
No,
for
no,
that.
see,
But
no. See, my thought process is if I am growing at 20%, right? Okay.
Mhm.
And if I maintain my current position, right,
Right.
within the industry, right, then I should at least calculate for 20%, right? Not for 10%.
No, if we are taking the reference point as 2013, here, okay, it might be a little confusing here for you. Let's say we'll not talk about history, we'll talk about future. Okay. We are at 2024. Okay. We have 2023 numbers, so we'll talk from 2023 numbers. For the next 10 years, industry is expected to grow at 10%, company is expected to grow at 20%. Now tell me,
Okay, now it is clear.
Industry.
10%.
okay,
You will take
so I'll grow
industry.
sale at 10% for 10 years. If we are talking about 10 years, we'll grow at 10 years. Okay. But
Correct.
so tell me, how do we do it? If for example, the 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 industry the s- the sales by invested capital right now is 4, or the invested capital turnover ratio is 4 this year. For the last year it was 3, the year before that it was 3.5, and average for the last 10 years is 3. Will you take 4, 3.5, or 3? My question is, for the last year, the invested capital turnover ratio is 4. The year before that, it was 3.5. The average for last 10 years is 3. The company is expected
Maybe
to,
I should go for average for
yeah,
10 years.
I'll go for average of 10 years, 3. Okay. Now, what I'll do is, how will I calculate now? Tell me. So 10 years from now, which is, say, because we are taking 2023, we'll say 2033. 10 years from now, our sale currently is, for example, 1,000 rupees. Okay. And our average turnover is 3. What would be the sale at that point in time? What should be the sale at that point in time, growing at the rate of the industry, like you discussed? At 10%, right?
Yeah, 10%.
So 1,000 rupees, let's say, for simplicity, becomes 2,000 rupees. Okay, in 10 years. Okay, at industry growth rate. I'm not calculating the correct number, but let's say it is 200 rupees. 2,000 rupees. If the average in industry turnover ratio, sorry, if the average invested capital turnover ratio is 3, then what should be the invested capital at today's date? Should we take average at that point in time to calculate, or should we take the current one? I'm confusing you guys knowingly. So do not get confused. Ask, answer. Okay. Please take a pen and paper. Everybody has a pen and paper in front of them? Yes or no?
Yes,
Himadri,
yes.
Pranay,
Yes. Yes.
Pawan.
Yes.
Right, 2023. Below that, right, sale is equal to 1,000. Inventory turnover, sorry, invested capital turnover ratio is equal to 4 for that year, for 2023. Below that, right, average in invested capital turnover is 3 ratio. Now go forward on the page some distance, right? FY33, FY 2033. The sale would be growing at industry growth rate of around 10%, would be 2000 rupees. What would you assume the invested capital turnover at that point in time? 4 or 3? We just discussed 4 or 3, guys. Are you following? Would it be 4 or 3? Okay, Shravan says 3. What about others? Himadri, what do you say? Okay, Srikanth, what do you say?
I can I ask one question? This one?
Yeah, please.
The same. So what would be for the next 10 years? What would be the invested capital turnover? It would be 4 or an average 3 only again.
Correct.
Okay, 3. Then in that case 3 only. We should
3
take
only, right?
average.
So you take
Yes.
3. Okay. You take 3 there. Right
Correct.
now, to calculate today's invested capital, what is today's invested capital? How much is today's invested capital?
3.
How much is today's invested capital, Pranay? What did you drink in the afternoon? How much is today's invested capital? If the sale is 1000, the invested capital turnover for, yes, Himadri.
3,000.
Okay. Invested
No,
capital
6,000.
turnover. Oh, hang on. Wait. What is the formula for invested capital turnover?
250.
250. Hiral is right. Invested capital turnover ratio formula is what, guys?
Sales by
Sales by
Sales by
Sales by
invested
invested
capital.
capital.
sales by. That is why I asked you, do it enough number of times, you will remember it. Sales by invested capital. So if the sales for that year is 1000 and invested capital for that year is 4, the invested capital turnover is 4, the invested capital will be 250, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now for FY20, if FY33, the sale is how much?
2000.
2000.
Invested capital turnover ratio is how much?
3.
What will be the invested capital?
667.
How much?
667.
667. Okay. Fair enough. We agree to this? All of us?
Agree.
Yes.
667 minus 250 is how much? Guys, jaldi.
417.
Sorry, 417.
417.
417 is invested, is the maintenance invested capital invested in the business in how many years?
10.
10 years.
10 years. So I'll divide by 10, simplicity. Simple formula. I'll divide it by 10. How much every year is the maintenance invested capital?
41.
41
6.
whatever, 41. Okay. So 41 is the number. Did you see how we calculated it? Do you understand it?
Yes.
How many of you understood it? How many of you did not understand it? It's not so easy to get, I understand. Please tell me if you haven't understood it. It's not easy. I agree.
So maintenance invested capital is taken based on the context of how many years that we wanted to keep.
Correct. It is
there.
divided by how many years?
Yeah, it is divided by how many years.
It has to.
Okay.
Are we clear with the formula? Not the formula, the method. Sorry. There's no formula, it's a method. Srikanth, are we clear?
Yes, I'm clear.
Okay. Now, what I want you to do is do it for all the companies that you are tracking. And if the company is growing slower than the industry, will you have what will happen?
It
If the
will lose
company, sorry?
it will lose its competitive advantage.
Yes, it will lose its competitive advantage. It is clear sign that the company is losing competitive advantage because degrowth of market share over a sustained period means you're losing some market share somewhere. I mean, you're losing some competitive advantage somewhere. Can you think of a company that has had a situation like this?
Nokia.
Yeah. Yes. Brilliant. Nokia. Did Nokia have a competitive advantage?
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
at that time.
Okay. That's food for thought for everyone. Okay. Did we understand this clearly, everybody? I want all of you to be very clear about this. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe I just
Yes,
want
please.
to
Please.
simplify it. Correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong. Okay. I take the current sales.
Yeah.
Okay. No, not current. Okay. Let's take as a two parts. Current sales by average invested capital turnover is one part, and future after 10 years. Okay. After 10 years, sales by at that point of time average capital turnover. Okay. Invested capital turnover.
1 minute. When you are taking sale for the next for the 10 years from now, you will grow it at what
Mhm.
growth rate? That's the very
As
important one.
industry growth rate. That's what
Okay.
our
Are we
that's
sure about this industry growth rate? We have to be very clear and we have to remember this. Okay.
Mhm.
Go on, Shrikant. You're on the right
Okay.
track.
So if I take two parts into it, right? Let's if I minus from the future to future minus the current
Correct.
value, we will get this value, right?
Correct.
The maintenance invested capital.
Absolutely. Now you would say if I divide it by 10, it would not be fair because in the initial years it would be less, in the
Yeah.
later years it would be high. You can do that adjustment for yourself. Okay. That adjustment, there is no formula for all that, but you can do it and you should do it. You have to apply your head to it. But the idea is done like this. This is how you do it. The idea is not to calculate maintenance invested capital, but the idea is to calculate current owner's earning. So in the current year, we divided by 10 and we got 41, right? In the current year, is it likely to be less than 41 or more than 41? In the first few years, it
It
is less
would
or high?
Yes, it would be
It has
less.
to be less, right? But we are being conservative and we are seeing it is 41. That way we arrive at a conservative estimate. You want to adjust it, you can adjust.
Okay, but I have a question here.
Yes, please.
So the idea in this example, let's stick to this example, was that the invested capital in the current year is like inflated. It looks
Right,
inflated with respect to the revenue, so we need to tone it down. That is the whole idea, right?
right.
So because but the I think the numbers that we assumed were like swapped, right? K average was 3 for the
Right.
last this, and the current was 4. In fact, it should be the other way around, right? The current would be lower, the turnover, right? And
Yes.
yeah, so we
Brilliant.
calculated wrong exactly.
Absolutely right. That's absolutely right. Because you would have invested in your assets more That's brilliant, Sean. Thank you for bringing that up. Because you would invest in your assets more, the assets part would have bloated up, but you would not have generated the corresponding sales. So actually, in real life, you will have a lower ratio in the current year, and you could have a higher average. That's more likely. That's what Sean is trying to point out. Okay. Now let's take an example. Okay. We'll do the rest of it in the next session. This this in itself is one of the best things that we can understand in the computing part of things. Okay. This is your Bible or your holy book Gita or whatever you want to call it. Okay. Now I'll tell me a company where it would be easy to find the growth rate. A company from an industry where it's easy to find the growth rate. Anyone?
I think where companies follow the ARR model, where you have annually pre-booked revenues,
Okay. Pre-booked
the growth
revenue.
is
Maybe
subscription
FMCG,
model. I mean,
FMCG, like let's take 6% or 5% growth.
Okay, fair enough. Uh, okay. Let's take something on those lines. Let's say, okay, let's take Mrs. Bector itself. Na? Mrs. Bector is a premium bread and biscuit maker. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Can you see my screen? Oh no.
Yeah.
You are seeing this, not.
seeing the screener.
Yeah, you're seeing. That's what is the problem. Yeah. Okay. So now can you see Mrs. Bector in the screener? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now if we go down, what is the rate at which biscuit industry, bread industry would be growing roughly? Anybody?
Let's take
Let's,
as 7 or 8%.
let's say Britannia का growth rate देखते हैं ना क्या है? We'll get an idea. Let's say Britannia. We'll benchmark against Britannia. So benchmark of Britannia is growing at 10%, 10 years. Sales. I'm looking at sales growth, guys. See, compounded annual sales growth for 10 years is 10%. Okay. Now I'm coming back to Mrs. Bector. Why Britannia? Britannia makes bread biscuit both. Okay. Now let's say we are looking at 2023 ka number. We have to grow this number at 10% for the next 10 years for till 2033. Just tell me what the number will be.
What is the number?
The number is 1362. 1362 को grow कर at 10% for 10 years.
3532.
So just write it down 3532. Okay, that's the sale number. Now let's do the division of sales by invested capital for this company. Shrikant, you would have the numbers, right? Invested capital turnover for Mrs. Bector, average. You
I
have
think
it?
I have for Britannia.
No. For Mrs. Bector, you don't have it.
No, I don't have it.
No problem. We'll calculate it. Okay. So
I have.
you have? Good.
Yeah.
Please tell me.
Invested capital turnover, no?
Yeah. Average invested capital turnover.
It is 2.
It's 2. So please note 2. Okay. What is the invested capital in the current year?
3.
No. What is the invested capital in the current year?
Okay.
Not turnover.
Okay. It's 520.
520. Okay. So just remember this 520. Now, what number we got for sale?
1362.
3532.
3562.
I'm talking about 10
3532.
years. 3532. So I have 3532 and an average turnover of 2. What will I do? Not Shravan and Pranay. I want Srikanth, Himadri and Hiral to answer. I have sale of 3532 in the year 2033 and an average turnover of 2. What will I do?
3532 by 2.
3532 by 2 is how much?
1766.
Shabash. 17. Sorry?
666 divided by 10.
Oh, my.
No. Hang on.
1766.
Wait. Pranay, you are jumping the gun and you are making the mistake, okay? So don't jump the gun right now. 1766
66.
minus 520 कौन करेगा प्रणय? 520 को सब्ट्रैक्ट करेगा ना भाई?
Yes.
तो उसको कौन भूलेगा? कौन याद करेगा उसको? So 1766 minus 520 is how much?
1246.
1246. So 1246 by 10 is how much?
124.6.
Sorry,
124.6.
124.6. Okay. So what will I do now? It should, let's say, because it's the beginning of the year, we'll take 100. Can I take 100, guys? Can I take 100? Yes, no.
Yes.
Shravan, I think you have grown the number at a higher rate. Shravan? 1362 at 10% CAGR for 10 years is how much, yaar?
Hmm.
3532 है.
सही है ना? ठीक है, चलेगा, ठीक. So 100 is the number. Okay. So what I'll do is first net profit or profit after tax, I'll add back depreciation. Okay. Assuming that there is no other cost, I'll subtract 100 from this. 90 plus 53 is how much? 143 minus 100 is 43. So 43 is the number that I'm arriving at of owner's earning without adjusting for operating cost. Do you think that is fair, or I'm penalizing the company for future growth? Was the average invested capital 2 or 3? Pranay?
2.
1362 divided by 4810. Hang on. 4810 200 215. Okay, 215 minus 116. Okay, 100. It is 100. 100 plus 581. 581. So 581, if I do, yeah, in the current year it is higher. The number is higher in the current year. Is the average correct, Pranay?
Yeah, I have not taken TTM. I have just taken up to 23. That may be the reason.
No, I'm not taking TTM.
Okay.
So is your average invested capital turnover 2, or if you take the points, where is it going? Is it going more than 2.5 or less than 2.5?
2.05.
So it is 2 only. Okay, fair enough. So tell me, by taking 100 as maintenance invested capital, am I penalizing the company, or is it a fair number? I'm asking all of you. Think about the whole process and tell me. Guys, the total came to some 1400 something, right? Am I audible, guys?
Yes.
Total is coming to 1400 something, correct? Is 100 the right estimate, or should I be taking a lower or a higher number? Srikanth, Himadri, give me your opinion.
Yeah, Shrey.
Yeah.
So one thing is the whole premise that which we, from which we start or where we
Right.
are coming from is that look, the current income is suppressed
Right.
because it's a growing company. So we need to kind of normalize it
Right.
by adding back certain costs,
Hmm.
which are like, not baked in completely
Right.
because the costs that are incurred, corresponding revenue has not come in entirely. So
Correct.
we need to that extent, add back the cost. So
Correct.
whatever calculation we do, the end outcome should be, that this 90 should go up. Is the
Ah,
premise
Shravan,
which we
Shravan, no,
start
no,
with.
no. No, no. That's a wrong way of thinking. That 90 should go up. ऐसा हमेशा नहीं होगा.
Okay,
90 will not always go up.
okay, okay.
If 90 goes up all the time, it will become, I mean, we'll be sell side analysts. That's not the point.
Hmm. Okay.
My question is very straightforward. Is the maintenance invested capital that we computed higher or lower? Should it be higher or lower for the current year? Higher than 100 or less than 100?
Higher, I think.
Hiral, what
Should
do
be,
you think?
it should be higher.
Srikanth, Himadri, what do you think?
It should be less than our current year.
Yes, it should be less for the current year. How can it be higher, Pranay? In the
I
initial
thought-
years, you invest less, right? Relatively.
Yes.
So you will need to think about how you want to adjust. You want to start with half of it or not, is what you need to adjust. What you need
Okay.
to understand. So if we have got a number of around 1400, we got 1400 or 1300 Hiral per year. I mean, for the whole period.
1246.
70, 1246. Okay, we got 1246. Okay. So we got 1246. Let's for simplicity take half of it. Okay. Half to be of the current year, and then it increases over time so that the total number is 1246. So half of 124 is the average, half of it is 62. Correct? So 62 is very close to depreciation. You subtract another, what, how much, 7, 9 or 10. So you subtract another 10 from net profit. You take net profit as 90, add back 53, subtract 62.
81.
How much do you get? 80. 80. Okay. Is 80 the owner's earning? Have we adjusted for everything or not? Did we understand this 80 ka calculation? All of us?
Yes. Yes.
Srikanth, Hemadri, did we understand it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we are taking a judgment call, okay? That's how you got to take for yourself in any business. Okay. So now that you have understood this, here comes another question. I know I'm taking a little bit of your time extra. Please allow me. Are all costs actually costs? Can costs be an asset and revenue be a liability? Can cost be an asset, guys? If you are a product company, if you are a product company where your software development effort goes into building features or the product itself, new features in the product or the product itself, then the salaries that you pay to your software developers, is that should it actually be categorized as a cost or an asset? Not as per accounting, as per logic. Should it be an asset or a cost? If you are a product company. Yeah, Himadri.
Yeah, all that should be on the asset, right? Because you are
Exactly.
building something that is going to retain for longer.
Exactly. For thank you. Srikant, we get this?
I agree.
Okay. Pranesh, Hiral, do we get this?
Yes.
Yes.
Pranesh, Raman, at Visible Alpha, we had two kinds of transactions, three rather. One was initiation and broker addition, the other was live transaction. Live transaction was okay, it is a cost, effort gone towards it, but to initiate new companies or to add new brokers was adding features to the same platform, right?
Yes.
It wasn't a cost, it was an asset. Can
Yes. Yes.
revenue be a liability? Think about it. Post dinner question. Okay. I'll not answer that. Which costs can be categorized as assets and when? Now, somebody spoke about Relaxo Chappal. Relaxo Chappal in 2015 took Mr. Salman Khan as their brand ambassador and Akshay Kumar. They spent total 55 crores on advertising and promotion. Okay. And they were selling around 10 lakh chappals at that point in time. So they were on an average spending 5.5 rupees a chappal, assuming 100 rupee cost of a average chappal, which is what it was at that point in time. Okay. So do you think advertisements that were made or fees that was paid for the stars for that year was it going to benefit them only for that year or for coming many years?
Coming many years.
For coming years.
Himadri, Srikant, coming many years or same year?
No, coming
Yeah,
many years.
it will be
Yes.
treated as an asset.
It should be treated as an asset, but not so much that it is for 10 years. You can depreciate it over a shorter period, say 3 years. Okay. So that's one example. Product development expense is another example. Investment into systems that will yield benefits over years. For example, you don't have a supply chain management system and you onboard that system, and there is a certain upfront cost of implementing that system. That cost need to be spread across. Okay. Store opening charges, like we discussed for Hudson, software development expense in a product company, R&D expense for medical companies. Yeah, it's debatable, but that's another category. But in reality, are they capitalized or are they expensed? Are they actually put as assets or are they put as cost and removed in the same year?
Expense.
They are expensed and hence you need to capitalize them. Okay. Now, there are two ways of doing it. One, you go to the nitty gritty and do it for every line item, which we did, or rather, I did when I started. Okay. And it worked. You can do the same for every line item. Or you can have an understanding of the whole industry and say that, See, this kind of a company will have this kind of a margin, steady state. Okay. Will I be fair if I say that a biscuit bread making company in a steady state period will have a 10% margin overall? Can I say that? Yes, no?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Can I say that a retail company will have 20% margin? A commodity retail.
No, I think.
Not even in my wildest dreams will it have. Himadri would throw a bomb at me if I say that, right? That's not possible. So you have to be very clear in your understanding of industries. That's why I focus so much on understanding margins, average, minimum, maximum. Do you get the concept? It is not just for average, minimum, maximum. Now, do you understand why I say it? Hiral, Himadri, Srikant, now do you feel that you have more incentive to work on more companies? Pranay, you as well. You would not do anything
Yes.
this time. I know you had live transactions, but you should work. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, so now do you understand why it's important to have average, minimum, maximum? This is why it's important, because once you have that perspective, you don't have to go pull out each and every hair and say, this is working, this is not working. No, it doesn't work like that. I know in the initial years you can do it and you should do it because you will get a hang of it. But over time you should develop that maturity. Can I say a milk company alone can have 10% margin?
No,
No, it cannot.
No,
Absolutely right.
on my side, no.
we saw action again.
No, it's not possible. But if it sells more value added products, is it possible to reach 7-8%?
Yes.
If I say 20%,
No.
I don't know the business. I don't know the business. Can a newspaper company have 10% margin?
Yes.
No.
Just a second.
No.
Yes, it can. It can. These days, newspapers are going out of business, but yes, they can. In the earlier
They
days,
used to be. They used to be, but not now, I guess.
not now. Absolutely. So, that's how I want you to think about it. And now, say for example, I say that bread biscuit making companies should have 10% margin. Okay. And now I share, Mrs. Bector, just give me a minute. Just 5 more minutes and we are done. Okay. How much did we calculate to be the owner's earning by adjusting only maintenance invested capital here?
80.
80, right? So if I say 10%, how much would that number go to of 13,620? 1362, 10% will be 136.
136.
So that is adjustment of how much more? 56 more. Correct? So 56 is being adjusted from expenses alone. Okay. And the margin for that year is 45%. If material cost is 55, the gross margin is how much? Guys, if material cost of that year is 55%, what is the gross margin? 45%,
45%.
right? Okay. In the operating cost of 175, how much am I reducing? 56. Let's say for simplicity, 55. So we are left with 125. No, sorry. I am talking about operating profit. My bad. Huh? My bad. Sorry. So let's say, for example, I have 45% gross margin and 13% operating margin. How much is the operating cost as a percentage of sale? 30. 45 minus 13 is 32. Right. So 32% is the operating cost as a percentage of sale. 1362 का 32% कितना होता है? Quickly guys.
436.
436. 436 में हमने 56 एडजस्ट कर दिया, कितना हुआ? 380. 380 divided by 1362 is how much? Are you following
380.
what I'm doing? Himadri, Shrikant? Pranay, are you guys following?
Yes. Yes, yes.
Himadri, are you following?
Yeah, I'm following.
Okay. 1362, 380 by 1362 is how much?
28%.
28%. Is 28% operating cost as a percentage of sale practical, impractical, possible, impossible, plausible? Is it possible or not?
28% operating margin.
28% operating cost as a percentage of sale for a bread and biscuit making company in steady state is a fair number. Does it look like a fair number or not?
28% is operating cost, I think. Yeah.
It looks like a fair number, correct?
Yes.
So by what I did is we calculated owner's earning using maintenance invested capital that came at 80. We assumed that 10% is the net margin in steady state, should be the net margin in steady state for a business in bread and biscuits. And then we cross verified everything and we found it to be reasonable. And now with all the assumption, I can say 136 is 136, which is 10% of 1362, is the bottom line of the business, is the owner's earning of the business. I'll make it even more conservative and say 125 crores is the owner's earning of the business. Would I be fair in saying this? Or can I call 136 alone as the owner's earning?
Yeah.
Shrikant, Pranay, Hiral. Shrikant, any questions? Hiral? Yes, Shrikant. Please go on.
I don't know. Nothing. I think I have somewhere lost. I have to be frank. Maybe I will again.
No worries. I'll tell you again. Hiral, did you follow?
No, I didn't understand the last thing, last question you asked.
चलो मैं लास्ट क्वेश्चन ये पूछ रहा हूं कि हमने अज्यूम किया कि 10% इस इंडस्ट्री में फेयर मार्जिन होना चाहिए स्टेडी स्टेट. हमने उसको वेरीफाई भी कर लिया. तो 136 जो नंबर आया, which is 10% of 1362, can I say 136 is the owner's earning for Mrs. Bector Food Specialties at this juncture? After verifying everything?
Yes.
I can, right?
Yes.
So there you have your answer. So 136 is the owner's earning. You want to be a little more conservative? Say 125 is the owner's earning. You want to be way more conservative? Say net profit to owner's earning hai hi. Correct?
Yes.
So is this a business which shows less profit but has more profits? Is Mrs. Bector Food Specialties underplaying its profitability by whatever way? Can I say that? Shrikant, Pranay, Hiral, Shravan, Himadri?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Sean, you
Yes.
wanted to say something.
Yeah. So I just wanted, I had one specific question. So we assumed that 10% will be the margin in steady state.
Correct.
And you said that we verified also that
Yeah.
in steady state 10%. वो कहाँ किया अपन ने, like maybe I
So
missed it.
एक तरह से हमने वेरीफाई तब किया जब हम मेंटेनेंस इन्वेस्टेड कैपिटल कैलकुलेट करके 80 पे आए, ठीक है।
Okay, okay,
और दूसरे केस में 32% was the operating cost to sale. 32% of 1362 is 436. 436 से जब आप 56 माइनस करते हो, which is the number that you would get, which is the number, how did we get 56, guys?
136 minus 80 unit.
136 minus
-80.
80,
minus 80, 56 56 अगर माइनस करते हैं हम 436 से, तो हमारे पास क्या बचता है? 380।
381, 381.
380 डिवाइडेड बाय 1362 कितना परसेंट होता है?
28%.
28%.
28%.
Is 28% a possible steady state margin for a biscuit business?
Yes.
You want to check that? Check it with Britannia. Britannia is growing at industry growth, right? Britannia का margin ले लो, 41% है. 41% minus 17% is how much?
27.
27.
27%.
Did we arrive at a number closer to that?
Yes.
I know it has economies of scale and all that, but the whole idea is, within the framework, are we able to come up with something?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Okay, guys. Anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.